Welcome to the Vanilla To Vixen podcast. This show contains adult content, so if you are under 18 or easily offended, please switch off now. Mr. and Mrs. N are not qualified relationship counsellors. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Now the disclaimer is out of the way. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our journey from Vanilla to Vixen.
Welcome to episode 62 of Vanilla To Vixen. We are your hosts, Mr. and Mrs. N, also known as...
the Naughty Couple.
Well, hello, Mrs. N.
Hello, Mr. N.
It's very nice to be here for another episode of V to V.
It is. Are we allowed to tell the listeners where we are today?
I know, we recorded in a different room today. It feels kind of weird.
It feels a little bit naughty.
It does feel a bit naughty. We're recording in the bedroom.
We are.
Our own bedroom.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the sexy reason why we're in the bedroom.
It's very wet. Very wet and windy outside, and so we thought, we've got big glass windows in the recording studio at home, so we thought, well, we'll just kind of bring our mobile recorded equipment up, just stay in bed.
I love it. I think we should do this all the time.
It feels very naughty.
We could do a bit of a big breakfast when we have guests.
The big breakfast, I remember that with Chris Evans and whoever it was.
Oh, there were all sorts of people that did it.
Johnny Vaughan.
That was the one.
Yes. Very good. The big breakfast with, well, that might be copyrighted. We can't do that.
Yeah, no, we won't do that.
We'll just call it the big bed.
Yes. But it is very nice and comfy.
It is. I'm feeling very relaxed.
Yes.
Anyway, this is episode 62. We've had a really busy weekend.
We have. We've had what's called a double feature.
Yes, I like that.
Yes.
I like that. So Friday night, we were at Chameleons, and it felt a little bit like we were like last to the party, because every couple we've ever spoken to has always gone, oh, have you been to Chameleons?
And we've always gone, no.
No, we've never been. So Chameleons is at Darlaston in the West Midlands, or just very close to Darlaston in the West Midlands, near sort of Birmingham. Brum, around that sort of area in the Wild West. We were very lucky. We were invited by the gorgeous Fred and Wilma. They're the couple that run the gorgeous Lich Vegas social.
Yes, bless them.
And they invited us along to Chameleons. Talking of chameleons, you do know what it's called when a chameleon can't change its colours?
No.
Erectile dysfunction.
Oh, God.
Oh, they get worse.
Oh, I like the link, though. I like that link.
It was smooth this week.
It was very smooth.
And yeah, so we went to Chameleons on the Friday, and then of course it was Vanilla To Vixen on the Saturday at Liberty Elite.
It was.
It was a really, really busy, very tiring weekend.
I still don't think I've actually recovered properly yet.
I know. Monday I felt dead. Anyway, I think we should start with Chameleons and kind of what... before we do that, talking of erectile dysfunction, I've tried a brand new product.
Have you?
That's on the...
I don't know why I'm saying have you, because I know you have.
You were there at the time.
I was there at the time.
So this is one for the gentlemen. And the product is called Erexon, which is, I think it's exclusively available from Boots Chemist. So you know it's kind of reputable when it's from Boots. And it helps with erection issues, but it's not a pill or anything like that. This is a little sort of gel that you rub on your kind of gentleman's member.
I love the fact that we've been doing this podcast for 61 episodes, and we've talked about all sorts.
Yeah.
And you're calling it a gentleman's member.
Yeah, I know.
Have you gone all coy?
We'll talk about Erexon a bit later on. I think it's great. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yes, we will talk about that.
That's a good one. Honestly, that it's worth hanging around for that. It's good. It's good. Let's talk about Chameleons first. Friday night.
Well, it was sort of late Friday afternoon we went, didn't we?
I know, we said we'd just pop along, and 7.5 hours later...
Yeah, I know, I couldn't believe it. On the way home we were going, we've been in this club for over 7 hours. It was crazy.
I always want to miss the rush hour.
Yes.
Sort of 8:30, 5 o'clock, I just point blank refuse to go out anymore. Since lockdown, I just don't do sort of crowded areas, unless I'm in a swingers club. That's different. but crowded areas, I just don't do. So I wanted to avoid the traffic, so we kind of got there early, didn't we?
We did, because it was a Friday night and lots of commuters on the road on a Friday night.
Yeah.
So we left a little bit early, and we did get to the club about 5:30.
Was it about 5:30 we got there?
It was about 5:30 we got there, yeah.
And so let's kind of treat this for anyone that's never been to Chameleons. It's got its own little car park.
Yes.
You can park right outside. It's almost like an industrial unit. It doesn't look a lot from the outside.
No, it doesn't, actually. I mean, to begin with, we were a bit like, are we in the right place? And then there's a big sign outside. And it's like, oh, yeah, so we are.
And we felt quite safe, didn't we? Because we were going as part of like a guest list with Lich Vegas.
Yes.
With the gorgeous Fred and Wilma. So we felt kind of like more confident.
I think we were quite relaxed, whereas I think if we'd have gone just the two of us on our own for the first time, I probably would have had those kind of first club nerves kick in.
You still feel like a newbie.
You do, especially when you go to a new place. It did help knowing that there was going to be people there that we knew.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. So we got there, and this was what you call a dress down club. So it means you dress straight down immediately.
Yes.
And we were given a tour by a great guy called Carl, who we walked straight in, and he said, what's your internal compass like? Mrs. N just laughed.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, you're fucked then.
Yes. I don't have one.
And the reason he said that was because it is like a rabbit warren, isn't it?
It is, yes.
There's lots of little nooks and crannies.
Yes.
And so we went sort of straight and got dressed down. I was in a towel. You were in your gorgeous white.
I was in a little white, silky, lacy number.
You did look very hot.
Oh,
Mrs. N.
You
did look
baby.
Extremely hot, I have to say.
Yeah.
So we went for a tour around the club. The bottom of the club, ground floor, is kind of like a little bar.
Yeah.
Which I would describe as almost a bit like the Cavern in Liverpool. It's kind of got like rock walls and...
Yeah, and it also got like little alcoves where you could sit and have food.
Ah, yes.
They had food.
No buffet.
But
they did have cheesy chips.
They had hot food.
And Mrs. N did love the cheesy chips. So, yes, they do hot food Sundays. They do a roast dinner.
I know.
So you can go in there. And this is the type of club, very similar kind of system to other private member swinging clubs. Single gentlemen, if you want to go, you have to contact the club first. Couples can just go. Make sure you take ID with you. And obviously, there is a membership. You have to pay your membership and an attendance fee.
Yeah.
All very good, very standard stuff. Ground floor, you've got like this little bar. You've got 2 big hot tubs.
Yes.
On the ground floor. I think there was a playroom as well. And then second floor, you've got the locker rooms.
Yes.
You've got a cinema room.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one, Mrs. A?
Oh, I do.
Best locker rooms I've ever seen.
I know. They were really good, and they got these really comfy seats that you could sit on.
Big mirrors.
Hair dryers, all sorts. It was like, wow.
Yeah, very good lockers.
They also had something known as the bus stop.
Yes, that's the little seat. So there's a little seat on the landing.
Yes.
Which is like the bus stop, because everyone stops there just to have a chat as they kind of wander in.
Very aptly named.
From room to room. Yes, I've forgotten about that. It's very good.
Yes.
Couples room.
Yes.
Which is it's almost like a gangbang room, isn't it?
It's quite a biggish room.
And with a little booth on the outside.
Yeah, that you can watch.
With a glass window that you can kind of watch if you're like a single gentleman, whatever, you can watch.
But you can pull a curtain across.
Yeah.
So people can't see you watching the people in the room.
It's all very dark, isn't it?
It is, yes.
It's very dark. They've got a completely blacked out room.
Yeah.
Called a dark room.
Couldn't see a thing.
No. So yes, they got what else have they got? They got a glory hole room.
Yes, do you know what? I have to say they were the poshest glory holes I've ever seen.
I quite like the glory holes.
They were very good. They were very good.
It.
There was it four or five?
I think it was four
of them.
Yeah. And they'd each got
had doors on. So if you wanted to go into the glory hole...
And just with your partner or something and just kind of fantasise.
You could shut the door behind you and it was all private.
And there were a few gentlemen in there just waiting.
Just hanging around, shall we say.
just a few things hanging around. just waiting.
One thing I wondered about the glory holes was it just for males or could the women have used it as well?
No, because I went in the last one just to try it out for obvious reasons, for journalistic purposes. And there was 2 holes at the top, so you could put your boobs through.
Oh, okay.
I felt better.
I did wonder.
Yeah. You got boobs and so you can, then you got like a corridor with a glass hole in it, a glass window on the floor.
Yes.
That you could look down into the playroom on the ground floor.
That was so groovy.
Oh, it was quite bizarre.
In fact, I think there was 2 of them, wasn't there?
There was
two glass panels in the floor.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
That was...
Which we were reassured that they are fully reinforced and proper.
Yeah, he said you could jump on them if you want to. He said, honestly, it will not crack. So that was very good. Then on the third, they got a TV room.
They had a TV room where you could literally go and watch,
EastEnders
if you felt the need.
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
Then on the third floor, they had got a it turned a little bit more kinky. They got dungeons, but they weren't what I would describe as heavy dungeons.
No, not at all.
They were kind of fun, kind of lightweight dungeons.
Yes. They weren't intimidating at all.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, it wasn't intimidating at all.
They weren't intimidating, no. So we didn't really see a couple of the other dungeons. We kind of went in the end one.
Yes.
And it got a big kind of wrought iron gate that you pull across.
Yeah, I loved that because it meant that, nobody else could join you if you didn't want them to, but people could watch.
That's right. The etiquette is if the gate is drawn, no one could come in.
Yeah.
But because obviously it's just a gate, you can see straight through.
You can see straight through it, yeah.
So that was a very sexy thing. And so we thought we'd kind of check that out, really, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. But first of all, we did go back down to the bar to start off with.
Yes.
We'd had a bit of a look round to try and find a feat.
Yes.
Which was a complete waste of time because I still got lost that many times.
You were lost within 2 minutes.
I know. But we did go downstairs to the bar area and just to meet the people that were in the group that obviously Fred and Wilma had organised. So, we kind of socialised for a while first, didn't we?
Yes.
And met the wonderful Saucy and Busty were there.
Mr. and Mrs. Foxy.
Mr. and Mrs. Foxy, who had also brought along the most gorgeous lady that we know.
Oh, yes.
Bless her.
Yes, Miss T.
Miss T.
Should we call her Miss T?
Let's call her Miss T.
We'll call her Miss T, yes.
So she was the Foxes' guest as well.
Yeah.
So she'd come along with them.
And the Foxes were staying in the accommodation because you could stay at Chameleons. They've got accommodation there. And they've got mirrors on the private accommodation rooms.
Yes, Miss Foxy was very excited about that.
Mirrors on the ceiling.
Mirrors on the ceiling.
Above the big bed.
Yes.
So, and she was taking selfies of herself. all very sexy.
They did have quite a few rooms you could stay in, couldn't you? The accommodation.
I think they got rooms on the second floor and on the sun terrace.
Yeah, so you go to the top floor.
Yeah.
There's obviously a smoking area, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then you walk kind of through the smoking area, and there's the outdoor terrace or the sun terrace, as they call
the sun
it.
lounges.
It was the rooftop terrace. That was the word I was looking for.
That's the one.
And they've got chalets sort of out there, haven't they, that you can stay in?
Very good.
Yeah.
It was a little bit moist.
It was a little bit damp while we were up there, although it was quite warm still.
So it wasn't much of a sun terrace for us.
No, but I can imagine it on a really hot sunny day. It's a very sexy place to be.
And it was very warm, even though it was wet.
Yes.
So it was wet and warm.
The weather, listeners, the weather, you dirty lot.
Yes. And yeah, we kind of like settled down. We went and chatted for a bit, didn't we, in the bar?
We did.
As people were coming in. And it was air conditioned, which was lovely.
It was lovely because there was a lot of people in that bar area.
And the bar area is small.
It is, yeah.
It's a small bar area.
It's compact and bijou.
And the whole club, I think, if people ask us, well, how does it compare to a club like Liberty Elite or maybe Purple Mamba in Nottingham?
Yeah.
I don't think you can compare it.
No, not at all. It is. I tell you what it reminded me of. Do you remember years ago when you used to go to fun fairs?
Yes.
And they'd have a house of fun.
Yes.
That's kind of what it reminded me of, because there's different levels, and on each level you've got a different thing going on.
Like a dirty house of fun.
Like a dirty house of fun.
Although it was extremely clean.
It was extremely clean, yes.
But the fun was dirty.
Yes, exactly. That's what it reminded me of.
Yes, a sexy house of fun.
Because obviously we've been to the attic in Derby.
Yes.
Now the attic is like a big warehouse that's kind of then...
Although that's all changing.
It is, because they've found new premises, haven't they? Which they are going to be moving to.
But the old attic, yes.
The old attic, although it had different
it felt very,
areas.
That felt very industrial.
And very open.
Inside and outside.
Yes.
But Chameleons, although it looks nothing from the outside, once you step in, it's quite bizarre. In the bar area, you could just be in a bar.
Yeah.
And then, you go upstairs and it really just feels very different inside than outside.
Yeah, it does. It has a real homely feel, though, to it.
It does. And I'd imagine that it can hold quite a few hundred people.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because there's
so many places and areas that you can literally go.
But it's a much darker club.
Yes.
Compared to what I would call a nightclub style, such as Liberty Elite or, again, Purple Mamba.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's got its own little disco room.
Yes, the disco room that kind of...
That doesn't come alive till about 10:30, I think,
10:30 at weekends.
Carl said, didn't he?
Yeah,
so, yes.
With a DJ.
Yeah.
It's a lot smaller.
Yes.
Sort of than perhaps the bigger entertainment disco rooms, again, of Liberty Elite. Overall, the rooms are a lot smaller, but there's a lot more of them.
Yes, yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's the best way of describing Chameleons.
So after Mr. Renner had allowed me to have my cheesy chips,
yes,
because I said I can't do anything unless I've eaten, as listeners, I need to be fed. We decided to go off and have a bit of we'd explore a bit more on our own.
Yes, you headed straight to the cinema room.
Yeah, I did.
And Finding Nemo wasn't on.
No, although it was outdoor and sea-natured film that was on there.
There was plenty of semen.
You are filthy. It was a good film that they were playing. Actually, the first couple of films, it makes it sound like we spent all night in there, but the films aren't actually that long.
7.5 hours, listener.
Well, maybe we did. It just time flew. But the first couple of films we watched were actually amateur films.
They were little scenes, weren't they?
Yeah. So these were beach scenes. So people having sex outside in the beach, and the sea was in the background, and it was very sexy.
It was brilliant.
So I really enjoyed that. So we sat and watched a couple of those, didn't we?
Yeah.
There wasn't really anybody else in there.
Not at that stage.
Not at that stage, because it was early on in the evening, wasn't it? So we left the cinema room and thought, I know, we'll come back in a bit.
It definitely got you in the mood, though.
Oh, it did.
And then we wandered upstairs. And to kind of the kink area.
Yes.
And we managed to get into one of the dungeons.
Yes, we did.
The end one. So the end dungeon has a big St Andrew's cross in the corner that's quite unique because you can spin it round.
It was double-sided.
So you could imagine this, you could put two people on it, one on one side, and then spin it round and put another person on it, so they're kind of facing each other.
Yeah.
That's kinky.
Never seen that anywhere before, have we?
That's really kinky.
So that was really cool. And then in the opposite corner, they had a swing.
Yes.
And then there was, in the middle of the room, there was like, I don't know what you'd call it.
Like a kink bed.
A bit, yeah. It was like one of the...
It was bigger than a spanking chair,
yes, but you could lie down on it,
and it had like a Y shape at the bottom, so
yes,
the legs,
for your legs,
were wide open.
and then a head shape at the top,
and it had got big hanging rails.
Yeah, so you could hang on to them, which somebody actually said to us as we were kind of looking around and trying to work out what you did, that apparently it's really good if you want to ride somebody, because you can hang on to the handles, and as the ladies will know, if you're riding a gentleman, it puts a lot of strain on the old legs.
You need something to hang on to.
And apparently if you hang on to these, it helps with the weight distribution, which means you don't get so tired.
Very good.
Yes. But then we also found in another corner was a little cage.
So, yeah, it got like an alcove bit, hadn't it? And it got the smallest cage ever. It was literally probably about 2.5 foot high.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, you definitely couldn't stand in it.
Oh, no, it was about 2.5 foot high by literally a couple of feet in depth, and it was a small, lockable cage.
Yes.
And we were just kind of looking around, and all of a sudden, I heard this beautiful accent.
Kind of along the lines of, all right, my lover.
That's the one. And we'd drawn the kind of gate across.
Yes.
And the great thing is, once you've drawn the gate, the sort of iron gate across, people could kind of watch but not come in.
Yeah.
And already it was kind of weird because people were going, that's Mr. and Mrs. N.
Oh, we did. It was really funny because I know obviously when we've run our events, people know they're coming to see us. And obviously
we do not consider ourselves celebrities.
Not in the least. And I do get
form.
quite giddy when people kind of make a bit of a fuss of us. But obviously at our events, they know obviously we're going to be there.
Yeah.
So to go to a club where I wasn't expecting anybody to realise who we were.
That's one thing I want to say is just to everybody who was at Chameleons on Friday, who came and said hello. You just absolutely tickled us.
You did. You made us feel really special.
And it was wonderful. We were going to this new club we didn't expect, apart from, the little group, or rather large group of Lich Vegas people. We didn't expect anybody to know us. And everybody was going, I recognise that every time you giggled.
Every time we had giggled, everybody sort of turned round and it was...
It's like, Mrs. N. And so to all our new listeners and everybody there, just thank you so much for making us welcome.
You really, you made our night, because it's like we did get quite giddy at the fact that people knew who we were and recognised us, and were, so there was
just so lovely. There was a few guys at the gate, and we had this. So we went to Mr. and Mrs. Foxy. Come on in, and so they joined us in the dungeon.
They did,
and I'm seeing Mr. Foxy now in a new light.
So am I, because it was only that night. How long have we known the Foxes?
Quite a while.
Yes, and it was only that night I realised he had a tattoo on his back. It was like, where did that come from?
And yeah, he suddenly became the dungeon master.
He did, yes.
Very authoritative. It's very good. And I said, for a joke, I'm going to try getting in that cage. And I'm not a small man. And so I did. I kind of like scrunched myself up, got into the cage, and Mrs. Foxy, I literally had to just whistle Jiminy Cricket. And she locked it.
She locked you in there, didn't she?
I know. And then they kind of like started getting sexy, you three together.
So the three of us started to, we were just having a bit of a play, weren't we?
They were kind of indulging you, weren't they?
Yes, they were indulging me very nicely.
Mr. Foxy was massaging your boobs.
Yes.
And Mrs. Foxy
was in the nether regions.
She disappeared down south.
She did.
And I was in the cage watching. And as a voyeur, it was just the hottest thing I've ever seen in my life.
And then Mr. Foxy said to Mrs. Foxy, get on your hands and knees.
Well, she got down and wiggled her bum really close to the cage.
Yeah, no, but Mr. Foxy said, just go at arm's length so Mr. N can't quite reach you. So she was teasing you, wasn't she?
I told you became this alter ego. He was the dungeon master.
He was.
So I put my arm right through and she was just wiggling her bum like an inch away. I was like, oh my God.
It was really, really sexy.
And it was just, and then this time we heard voices and they were like, it's Mr. and Mrs. N. And quite a crowd had built up at the cage, at the Iron Gate door. It was just brilliant.
It was
fun.
really good. Really good. I mean, even if you're not into sort of, BDSM or anything like that, because we're not massively into...
It's lightweight kink, but it's fun.
It is, but it just made it really fun. Actually, and there was a really funny moment when Mr. Foxy actually got in the chair.
Yes.
Or the swing, sorry, not the chair. He got into the sex swing, but it was quite funny because he looked like a little schoolboy just swinging on a swing. It's just like, you're right there, having fun.
And then I sat up on the bed.
Yes.
Of course, with my legs wide apart.
Yes.
And Mrs. Foxy gave me a blowjob.
She did.
It was it. I was...
Although I didn't happen to see that because I was otherwise engaged.
Yes. You were occupied.
Yes, I was. But it was great.
It was good fun.
It was good fun.
And that was kind of Chameleons, really. It went on, didn't it, for quite some time. We went down and...
It did. We went up and down the stairs, along the corridors. We passed people several times and they kept saying, do you know where you're going? It's like, no.
You managed to get another bukkake in the cinema room.
I did. It was only a small one, though.
Greedy girl.
I know I was, greedy girl. So this was the third time we went into the cinema.
I think there was about 4 loads.
Was there?
There was 3 or 4, yeah.
Well, I know you were involved in it.
There was 3 or 4.
Was there 3 or 4? Okay, I know. I shouldn't be disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was lovely and I was very grateful. But
if there's not 6 or 7, you're not interested.
No, but I think the thing is because the third time we went in is when they were playing one of the films that has the storyline, which everybody knows. I like a plot, I like the anticipation, I like the build-up. It makes it quite sexy.
Yes.
So I decided to lie down on one of the benches and was obviously feeling sexy, which was nice. We managed to get a couple of people to, come over me, which then I kind of mentioned, because there was quite a few people in the cinema at this point.
Yes.
And I was just like, anybody else?
And it was very dark.
Want to join it? You can't see a thing in there.
So you didn't know who was...
I didn't know, but I was covered and it felt lovely.
Yes.
And then somebody did the ultimate where they said, would you like me to get you a towel? And it's like, good God, no. Don't be ridiculous. And that in itself was really sexy because it meant I was kind of walking around.
You do like a bukkake.
Oh, I love it.
You love it?
I do love it. So that was brilliant. So I really enjoyed that.
Yes.
It was a really, really good night.
So a huge thank you to Fred and Wilma for inviting us.
Yeah.
And it was just so lovely to be able to go and explore a new club with friendly faces there.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Really, really good.
Thank you to all the staff at Chameleons, beautiful lady who was on reception.
Yeah.
And Carl and all the staff there. Very clean, exceptionally clean club. Yeah. And we just had a great night.
We did have a really good night.
And we hope to be returning.
Yes.
So yes. And then of course... the following night, a few hours sleep.
Yeah. Like 3.
And we were getting ready for Vanilla To Vixen.
We were.
At Liberty Elite.
It's silly because I know we do V2V every 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But it felt ages since we'd had one.
I know, because obviously we did Vegas Vixens a month ago.
Yes.
So we do alternate events. We do Vegas Vixens every other month, and we do Vanilla To Vixen every other month. So we're doing an event every month now at Liberty Elite. You can come and see us. Vanilla To Vixen is for couples and single ladies only.
Yes.
So it's our couples night, especially for newbies. We had so many new couples.
We had loads of new couples, which was brilliant.
And we've got some new listeners.
Yes.
So welcome.
Welcome, you new listeners.
Yes.
You know who you are.
Yes, it was lovely meeting everybody. And I suppose here's where we kind of get onto the more personal story of us, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
because everybody knows we're kind of a hot wife couple. It's fair to say you had quite a energetic night at Chameleons on the Friday. So you were feeling a little tender, weren't you?
I was a little tender.
Yes. And so we got chatting, and as hosts, we kind of in the bar area for usually around till sort of 10:30, 11 o'clock, aren't we?
Buffet time.
And then we're always in the playroom.
Yes.
We do a full sort of, we are not hosts that just permanently stand by the door. We are right in there.
Yes.
But you got chatting to a beautiful new couple.
Oh, I did.
And I was chatting to another gorgeous couple who have been before.
Yes.
And I suppose, as I say, our dynamic is we've always played really as a hot wife couple.
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't know, hot wife couple is usually where the lady plays and gentleman watches, joins in maybe with a bit of soft play. But it's not kind of a full swap scenario.
No.
And a few weeks ago, that happened.
Yes.
You kind of dropped it on me in the middle of the playroom. And it was a packed playroom.
It was. And we were actually playing with two very good, I can't say good friends of ours. It was more than two of them. But there were two couples.
Four good friends.
Good friends of ours.
Yeah.
That,
two beautiful couples.
Yeah, that we feel incredibly comfortable with.
Yeah, we adore them.
So
both.
I was feeling very happy.
There's 100% trust there with us, with them.
They know our dynamics. They know how I feel,
and we trust them implicitly.
Implicitly. And it was a lovely feeling for me because, I've carried a lot of guilt for a very long time.
Yeah,
where I know it's our dynamic, and I know obviously you've always said, but this is what I enjoy. I always thought, what are you getting out of it? Are you getting as much as me? I feel guilty because you're in a way not actually playing.
Yeah.
And so I've carried that around for quite some time,
which is silly.
I know, and I know we've talked about it, and
but
I know exactly how.
Yeah.
But I think it's just.
I think with a lot of hot wife couples we've spoken to who just go into that dynamic, I think it's quite a common feeling.
Yeah.
From what we've talked to.
And I've openly said to you that I was not comfortable with the idea of you playing with another woman or kissing. I just didn't know how I would feel about it.
But then also, as time has gone on, you've said you've almost become irritated with that feeling that you've wanted me.
Yeah.
To go play,
yeah.
but you weren't ready for it. So I suppose it's like a seesaw of emotions.
It is, because it's that whole thing. It's like I do want you to play, but then I'm scared because it's like if I give the okay and then it happens and actually I'm not ready.
Yeah,
that brings up a whole new different level of emotions and then something we've got to deal with and I have to say to the listeners that this has been, I mean, if you've listened to the podcast from the start, you will know our journey was never a fast one. It's actually taken us quite a long time.
And we always say it's not a race.
It's not a race.
There's no destination.
You go at your own pace.
It's a journey.
And so we don't rush into things.
Absolutely.
And so and it started off where I was comfortable with you kissing.
Yes.
So kissing another woman, somebody that I knew and I felt comfortable with.
Yeah, of course.
That started off.
You always have to have trust with the person that you're playing with, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
Exactly. So that started off and it was just like, oh, actually, I'm okay with this. This is all right.
Yeah.
It's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. You had the odd kiss.
Yes.
But then we also had times where there was a little bit of soft play.
Yes.
And again, I was really, really comfortable with that. Which is why I'm saying it's taken us time. We haven't just suddenly gone, whoa, full in. Yeah, you go off and you can...
So what got you to the stage a few weeks ago where you went, you can fuck them? What got you to that?
Because I just felt incredibly comfortable.
You also have been quite irritated.
Yes. it's also the fact that there is that guilt there that I just feel like, you were probably frustrated.
I wasn't frustrated in the least.
I know, and I know you've been very honest about it.
And that's 100% honesty. I've not been frustrated in the least. I'm indifferent to it.
Yeah.
I would enjoy playing, and I have enjoyed playing. Full swap.
Yes.
But if we had never got to that stage, it wouldn't have bothered me either.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy what we do.
Yeah, I know. And I know you said that. But because of, obviously, the conversations that we'd had, and I need to make this really, really clear, that we have talked about this an awful lot.
Yes.
And we've gone through my emotions and my feelings and then how you feel about it. And, your reassurance to me of how you feel about the dynamic that we play with, but also your honesty in how, you do feel about it. And because of all of those things, it happened the week before where I had that feeling. It was like, actually, I think I'd be okay if you did a full swap.
But you were quite quiet.
But I didn't say anything because I thought, am I just in a quick moment and that might disappear? So I kept that one to myself. And then the next time the opportunity arose, I had the same feelings. And I thought, no, I am obviously okay with this.
Yeah.
So I did kind of spring it on you and said, look, if you want to, poke your whistle, so to speak.
Poke my whistle.
Then I would be okay with that.
And I did.
And you did.
I wasn't ready for it.
You weren't ready for
because,
it. And I am...
Because you just dropped it
know,
on me.
And I am so sorry for doing that to you, because that was a bit mean.
No, it wasn't mean at all, but it's just, it was a surprise. It was a shock. And so we were in the big room, and I was suddenly aware... and we talked about it on the podcast. I was suddenly aware of this, the room going, gasp, it's like Mr. N is fully inserted. And so I was aware of that. And, we talked with our good friend, Delicious Debs, and she was like, you've got to learn to do baby steps.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't a good idea to do that straight away in the big room. And I'm like, but I've walked around naked in the big room, God knows how many weeks after week after week.
Yeah.
Why was I suddenly... And I did. I suddenly felt very self-conscious.
Yes, I know you said.
And that didn't go away. It lasted after we'd left the event.
It did. And I'm sure you won't mind me saying you felt your performance wasn't at top level.
I reported it on the podcast.
You did report it on the podcast.
There was a little bit of stage fright.
Yes.
Hence why I rattle.
Yes, but like you've just said, this actually went on for a few weeks after that event, and the problem was it was getting into your head terribly, and that was really bothering me because I kept saying to you, there is nothing wrong, and you kept saying, oh well, I don't think I get as hard as I used to, and it's like, no, but you do, but it just got into your head because obviously of that situation, and that's where I felt really guilty because I thought that was like I just dropped this on you, expecting you to just go, yes, of course, I can.
I totally disagree. I don't think you were to blame at all. It was me getting into my head.
Yeah.
And we talk about this every week. We bang on about communication, and our gorgeous agony aunt Roxy has said many, many times, don't get in your own head.
Yeah.
And I did.
You did.
And I've never been in my own head before. It just rattles around. There's not a lot in there. And it was quite a weird place to be because you question yourself and you doubt yourself, like you said, because I was suddenly with other people having sex.
Yeah.
And for 18 years of marriage, 18 years of marriage, I've only ever physically been with you. And that was suddenly a big shocker.
Yeah.
It brings us back to sex is a big, powerful thing. And you forget that.
You do. You do forget it.
You absolutely forget that.
And so, I mean, as a result of the fact that, it was bothering you and things. And we happened to go shopping for something. I had to go and pick something up for somebody.
I've seen the adverts. This is a brand new product.
Yes.
We went into Boots, Erexon. So I'm not particularly a fan of taking pills unnecessarily.
Yes.
I will not even have a paracetamol.
No, he's a nightmare.
So I don't like Viagra.
Yeah.
For that reason. It can give people headaches. It's perfectly safe. It's perfectly fine. Lots of gentlemen take it on club nights because they just like it for insurance.
Yes.
But I didn't fancy that.
And a little bit of longevity.
Yeah, longevity.
Yes.
So this is a brand new product called Erexon, which is available. I think it's exclusively from Boots, and it's a stim gel. It helps you get an erection within 10 minutes. It's advertised. And so
it's quite expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 25 quid, and you get, I think, 4 tiny little...
They're about an inch in size, aren't they? Maybe
they're not even an inch.
Are they not an inch?
Centimetre tubes.
Yeah.
So, in other words, it's one squirt.
Yeah.
So 25 quid for 4 squirts. That's fucking expensive.
It is.
That's 25 quid for 4 stiffies.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to Viagra, it's about the same. So I thought I'd give it a go. As just to kind of... I knew there was nothing medically wrong. So I thought, let's give it a go. And it's amazing.
Yeah, we tried it out, didn't we?
So you put it on the end of your cock, actually on the head, and it feels very cold and then goes very hot. Well, not very hot, like not deep heat.
You don't want to put deep heat on your cock.
That'd just be fucking agony. But it's like, it goes very warm.
Yeah.
And then you get almost like a throbbing sensation of you're about to come. But you don't, obviously. And so it kind of stimulates the end of your penis.
Okay. How long would you say that sensation lasted for?
About 15 minutes.
Yeah.
By which time you've forgotten all about what's in your head.
Okay.
So if you're nervous,
yeah,
I strongly recommend it.
Yeah.
Because you take it along to the club, and the thing is, because you put it on the end of your cock, and then if you're getting a blowjob, you have to think about that. So probably have your blowjob first, and then just as you're about to, put your condom on, you can use this with condoms. So just before you pop your condom on, just pop this on the end of your willy.
Yeah.
And off you go. And it's really, really good. Strongly recommend it. We're not being paid by whoever make it. I don't even know who make it. But
unless they're listening and they'd like to give us,
sponsor. It's really, really good. I thought it was great. It says 4 single dose tubes. I thought it said turbo. Felt like a turbo. But no, it was very good. And I highly recommend it. So obviously that kind of got me out of my head a little bit. But you were still feeling a bit upset because you felt responsible on Saturday.
Yeah, I did. And I was also worried that you kept getting this, I just felt that it was still bothering you.
I was honest with you. I said it just left me questioning my my performance kind of thing. And then it's because for the first time I was with somebody else, it's like, well, can I do it with somebody else?
Yeah. I mean, I have had open conversations with the ladies involved that night.
Right.
Because they're a very, very good friend of ours.
Yes.
And we love them dearly.
Yes.
And said, obviously, this was how you were feeling.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm really sorry kind of thing. And both of them have said to me, they don't know what you were talking about because they both had an amazing time. And in fact, they would like to repeat the experience.
And I want to say as well, absolutely, it's in no detriment to them. They are both absolute stunners. I suppose if I was equate it to football, I would say, I was the guy kicking it around on the Sunday pub league. They were Premier League. You know what I'm saying? They were, they're stunners, both of them. And so, in no way. And of course, I'm very aware that it can make a lady feel if you can't get hard, then a woman can take it personally, which they should never ever do.
No,
because honestly, ladies, guys can, like I say, get in their own head for many, many different reasons, and it's nothing to do with the physical attraction of the woman.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so zooming forward to this Saturday,
yes,
you were chatting to a new couple. I was talking to a gorgeous couple who we just absolutely adore.
We do adore them. We've met them previously, and we've had chats with them
from up north.
They are beautiful,
and they're very new to the scene.
They are very new to the scene,
and we just adore them. Just two beautiful people.
We're hoping we can get them on the podcast at some point, because they have quite a remarkable story.
Yes.
So we're not going to go into that because I want to save that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely a unique couple.
Yes.
Brilliant. They've got a very similar dynamic to us, in as much as Lady's exactly the same as Mrs. N. They're a hot wife couple, and she's not yet ready to share her partner fully.
Yeah.
Soft play's good, but not fully swap.
Yeah.
And I was talking to them, and we've met them before, so we were having a really good chat. I get on really well with the gentleman.
Yeah.
Gorgeous guy. And he's just got the most great smile, just such a warm smile, and such a warm couple. And I was just chatting. We were just lost in
we were sitting on the sofas, but on opposite sides. So I was sitting one side talking to the new couple, and was having a great conversation with them. Really interesting conversation with them. Yeah. Because their dynamic was the guy had been in the scene previously. Yeah. She was very new to it. Yeah. So he introduced her to the scene. Yeah. So we were just putting the world to rights, really, and she was asking some advice and stuff. So I was chatting away.
And bless them, the couple I was talking to were kind of like, are you coming to the playroom then? Are you coming to the playroom? But I knew you were tender from Friday.
Yes.
So I knew you were quite happy.
I was happy. And I could see out the corner of my eye that the lady was stroking your chest.
She did.
She was sitting in your towel, weren't you?
She was so tactile and so worried of offending you. She was all the time saying, "Can I do this?"
Yes, she was asking me all the time, "Was it okay?
Is Mrs. N okay with this? Yes. Can I kiss you? Is it okay? Are you sure?"
Yeah.
And it was fine. And so it's fair to say we were getting quite heated.
Yes. Yes, it was getting toasty.
With your permission.
Exactly.
And she kept saying, "Are you sure Mrs. N's okay with this?" And like, she's chatting.
Yeah, I was absolutely fine.
You weren't even looking.
I was absolutely fine. And then, again, I had that comfortable feeling that, do you know what? If you did want to go off and play, I was quite happy, because I was tender, wasn't going to be having any such play. I didn't think that night. Yeah. I was happy just talking to the new couple anyway. Was very relaxed. And
it was fair to say, I suppose, you'd had more action on the Friday.
Yes.
Whereas I'd kind of had more voyeur.
Yes, on Friday.
So I was kind of heated. And
and again, because we know this couple, and
of course.
And there is huge trust there with this couple.
And this is the secret to successful play.
Yes.
When you're doing something new, make sure that the other couple or the other person that you're playing with understands the full dynamic, and be open with them, communicate openly with them. Yeah. And they knew the full situation.
Exactly. And, it was, for me as well, I had this thing, which I know you weren't, I dropped another bomb on you, didn't I? As I seem to like to do. And I kind of sort of got your attention and said, look, if you wanted to go off and play, I would be more than happy. Yeah. But what I did say is that I wouldn't want to be there.
Which again, you could have knocked me over.
I know.
Because I was like, whoa.
But there was a reason. There was a reason why I didn't want to be there. It wasn't because I didn't think I could cope with seeing you with another woman, because I've already seen you with another woman and it was fine. What I wanted was to give you a bit of space to be able to... Because I know if I'd have been in that room, I know you would have been worried about me.
I still worried anyway.
I know you did. But I just thought if you had that little bit of privacy to show that there's nothing wrong with your performance, I just felt you needed that. And I felt comfortable enough to be able to give that to you.
Which is a very... beautiful and selfless thing. And so I fully understood how much it meant to you.
Yes.
And I was like, the level of trust is incredible.
Yeah, it is.
But when you first in that situation, and I don't know if you remember right back to many years ago, when I first said to you, go off and play. I don't know if you remember those feelings.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And I was almost like, well, I know this is very, very silly and almost like muggle world, because we don't play games in this lifestyle. Oops, naughty hobby.
Thank you.
Put another £1 in the jar.
Yes.
In the naughty hobby, we don't play games and we don't do that. You know, we open communicate. But it's still almost like, well, she said go off and play. Is it really all right? You're not going to be upset if I come back and go, well, I've actually done it.
Yeah.
Which is it's such a stupid thing to think. And if anyone else said it to me, I'm like, don't be a dickhead. But you still do worry, because I love you so much.
Of course you do. And even though, and this is something I want to make really, really clear to people, even though if you're in a situation where you are going off to play with somebody and your other half or your partner is doing something somewhere else or just sitting, chatting somewhere else, isn't with you at that time, doesn't mean to say they don't stop thinking about you.
No.
Because it's still about you as a couple, whether you're actually in the same room with each other or not. So whenever I play, even though I'm enjoying what's happening and everything else, I'm still constantly thinking of you and what we're going to get out of it. And, you know, when we debrief and the reclaim and everything else. So it's still, even though I wasn't there physically, I was still there with you.
I think it also helped as well because obviously I was with a hot wife couple.
Yes.
So I knew exactly how that dynamic works.
Yeah.
Because I'm part of one.
Yeah.
And so for me, all of a sudden, I was the third wheel. And I wanted to include the partner, the male partner, as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's much about him as it is the lady.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure he was 100% comfortable with what was happening and what we were doing. And I think it's just beautiful that their particular dynamic, he holds her hand all the way through it. And I just think that's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah. I thought that was lovely when you told me that.
And I could see in his eyes the absolute adoration and love for his wife while you know the sex was taking place with me. And so I had absolutely no issue at all. I felt a lot more comfortable than I had the couple of weeks before. Yeah. Again, to equate it to footballers, I felt like I just wandered on to the Sunday pub league playing, you know, this is me. And I felt like Pep Guardiola just suddenly was waving me across. This is how gorgeous this lady is. I felt Pep Guardiola was waving me across going, do you fancy coming and having a quick game with Manchester City? You know what I mean? That's how
You've
I
not
felt.
quite got his Italian accent right though, sweetheart.
No. But that's how I felt. You know, this couple are so beautiful.
Yeah.
I suddenly, it felt like a huge, I was honoured, you know, and I felt like the third wheel, which felt good.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that made me feel secure in my relationship with you. I knew you weren't there.
Yeah.
And I felt like that third part, and I knew what I was doing for them.
Yeah.
And I said to them afterwards, you know, when I leave, you're leaving together, and, you know, I'm just their sex toy.
Yes.
And I enjoyed being the sex toy. It was fucking good fun. It went through to completion. And it was just a wonderful experience. And it was obviously like a first time real full experience. And
it also managed you to get out of your own head and realise.
I felt, as I say, I felt like Pep Guardiola was just patting me on the back.
Exactly.
You know.
You'd scored a brace, baby, hadn't you?
Oh, my God, I tell you. Yeah.
But I'm sure there are people listening, and maybe the ladies, that are thinking, okay, well, that's how you were feeling. How was Mrs. N feeling? And I'm going to be totally honest, because I think it's important.
Yeah.
So when Mr. N and the lovely couple went off, I thought, I'm going to get myself a drink at the bar. The couple I was talking to, they went off. They decided that they wanted to go and play. So they disappeared. So I was standing at the bar just waiting for a drink, talking to the bar staff, who were lovely. And I was questioning in my head to myself, okay, so how are you feeling now? And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. So I was kind of talking to myself a little bit.
Did you expect it to fully happen?
What, you go off and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
An actual fuck.
I know. Yeah. That was in my head when I actually said to you, if you want to go off and play, it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
That was always in my head.
Yeah, I knew you meant that, and we talked about it. I knew that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was still just, checking.
Yeah. And then the delicious Debs, bless her.
Who... Bless her. She's like the swinging fairy godmother, isn't she? She knew exactly what was happening. She knew exactly, Debs is like family. She's not like
she is family.
She is our family now.
She is.
Words cannot put into. I can't put into words how much we love Debs. Yes. She's part of our family.
She is,
and she knew. And
she came up to me and put her arm around me, and she was like, "You okay?" And it's like, it's one of those things, most people who know me, especially Mr. N, knows that I am a very emotional person. And it's always that thing, don't be nice to me because you'll make me cry. And as soon as she said that to me, I burst into tears, and she was like, come and sit down, let's have a chat. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm fine. I think it was just almost a release of emotion.
Really? That
I'd got to that stage that I could actually... go, I've done it. I've been able to say to you, go and play, and I'm fine with it.
Mr. Foxy would call it kind of evolution.
Yeah.
And did you feel like you had let go of a lot of baggage?
And that was the thing, all the guilt that I've been carrying around. Even though I know you say unnecessarily and stuff, but you still carry it. All of that was all of a sudden, it was just gone.
And like I said to you, I came back and, in the words of Alan Partridge, although I'd had a ruddy good time, you come back and it's not you, it's not my wife, it's not the person I love.
Yeah.
And it made me love you more. It made me realise how unique you are, how unique our sex is between us, and making love, and the difference obviously between making love and sex, and it made me feel like a newbie all over again, because that's what I was.
Yeah,
it was uncharted waters.
Yeah. I'll tell you one other thing that I actually really liked about it. Because obviously we've talked about reclaim sex, and you've openly always said, if I've been with somebody, you literally can't leave me alone.
Oh fuck yeah!
And it's like, and although it's the same for me, like I want to be with you, but you probably instigate it more. You kind of take charge that it's like, I can't keep my hands off you, and I need to be with you, and all this, that, and the other. Yeah. I got to experience that.
And how did that feel for you?
Frigging amazing. Because it was like, the problem was obviously we were quite late, because obviously we have to help tidy the club and make sure everything's okay and everybody's got off safely. Yeah. So we didn't actually get to bed till about 4:00 on Sunday morning, and we were meeting the lovely Mr. and Mrs. Foxy.
We were doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And Miss T and the delicious Debs for breakfast.
Yeah.
So we'd only had about 3 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And because we went straight off for breakfast, and then we got other commitments we had to do during the day, we hadn't really had that time for a proper debrief and a reclaim.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, by the evening of Sunday, I was a little bit frustrated.
We did have a little bit of reclaim on at 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, as
We did,
I remember.
but in fairness, we were both absolutely knackered, and it was like...
You got very excited, sucking me off.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Because it was like, and I actually played on that, and for the first time ever, we kind of did like reversal, where it's like, you know, you're tasting, you know, juices, etc., etc.
Yes, I did, which was very hot, actually. It was very hot, but I just didn't feel like I'd had enough time.
Yeah,
and so, and because we always like to be honest.
Yeah, totally.
About how things are for us and how it works and how we're feeling.
We've been so open, that's what's got us into this mess.
Exactly. But hey-ho, I'd much rather be that way. So it wasn't really until Sunday evening, and I remember saying to you, I think, it was just like, we have got to go to bed, because I seriously need to have you.
Reclaim me.
Definitely. But it just felt like I was experiencing it from your side.
Yeah, well, you were.
And it's like, I want to take you right back, just to try and explain something, that when we first started to fantasise, there's a certain fantasy that we've had. And I think if anybody's bought our book, I think it is actually in the book what the fantasy was about.
That's Vanilla To Vixen, my journey from a vanilla life to a hot wife, available exclusively from amazon.co.uk.
Nice plug, Mr. M.
Amazon.com. Carry on.
So anyway, so we used to have this fantasy, and this fantasy was about Mr. N performing certain act on a certain person.
Okay.
And it used to make me really jealous, didn't it? And I always said that I want to experience that feeling that you got.
Yeah.
And so doing what we did on the Saturday night and then reclaiming and everything on Sunday evening, I felt like I'd experienced what you'd experienced, which made me feel even closer to you.
You did in a way.
Yeah. And it was quite mind-blowing. The whole thing was quite mind-blowing.
So is this something you would want to repeat with people that you trust?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But as I said to you, I'm not sure if I could honestly say every time we go to a club, I would feel comfortable enough for you to go and play, because I don't know how I'm going to feel on that day.
Of course. It's brand new.
Yeah.
I remember right back to reversal, when it was your first time going off and things. I couldn't imagine letting you do that with every man that I saw.
No.
You know, you might see a 6'6" Adonis and just go, I'm not ready for that. You know, now you just tell me. Because you gain confidence as you go.
Of course you do.
And it's a great lesson for us to remember what it's like in the beginning for everybody. And it's, you know, it's a big emotional, very powerful thing.
Incredibly powerful.
That we do. And you can become nonchalant, and you can forget.
Because I mean, and I know we've talked about this before, where, you know, there are different dynamics between different couples and things. Sometimes you get the couples that go into the club and they will literally sort of disappear separately, and probably won't meet up again until the end of the night. That wouldn't work for me at all. I couldn't do that. But you know, there are couples that it works for, and that's what they like, and that's their thing, which is great.
Yeah. You can play separately like we did on Saturday, but it could still be a massive couple thing. Yeah.
And it was so lovely. And one thing that really, because I know obviously being an emotional female, as I am, and there's always that thing of, are you going to experience this with this other woman and think to yourself, oh, actually, do you know what? You know, that's...
How can I put that into words? I know what you're going to say. You know, is it...
You know what I'm trying to say?
Is it going to be better with her, and are you going to go off me?
Yeah.
And how can I put this into words? It's like, the sex was really good, but it's not the person that you love. You know, it's recreational, it's fun, it's makes you feel great about yourself. It's sexy, it's different. It's a different body, it's different scents, you know, it's different feeling, you know, touch, physical touching.
Yeah, rather than emotional.
Yeah. And it is emotionally different as well, obviously. And it feels new. But then it's not that familiar scent, that familiar touching, that familiar bit of knowing every single what of your body is like I do with you.
Yeah.
And that in itself is so special, and you long for that after you've been with someone else. But the great thing is there's no guilt.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's funny you saying that about the guilt, because I remember playing with a lovely gentleman that is a very, very good friend of ours. And we played with him over quite a long period of time.
And you'd go off to hotel rooms.
Off to a hotel with him. And I remember being in the hotel with him one evening, and he actually turned around to me and said, "Do you not feel guilty?" And I said to him, "Why would I feel guilty? Because you knew exactly where I was." And as I said to him, there is nobody that can come between you and me. Nobody. There is no room in my heart for anybody else other than you.
And likewise, and that's when when we finished and I was walking back down the corridor, the walk of shame with my towel over my shoulder. All I was thinking about, all I wanted was you. I was concerned because it was our first time. I think it would have been unnatural if I wasn't concerned.
Yeah. I mean, you did say to me, one of the thoughts that was going through your head was you were worried that when you walked back in and saw me,
I had that stupid muggle thought of like, oh my God, will she have really expected me to gone through it?
Yeah.
Are you going to burst into tears when I said, no, actually, we fucked to completion type thing.
Yeah.
And that was a ridiculous thought.
It was ridiculous because no way would I have ever have...
It would have been cruel and it would have been...
Yeah,
I mean... been stupid.
Exactly.
Like we said, we don't play those games.
No.
And nobody in this naughty hobby should ever think like that, ever. Because if that's the kind of games you want to play, then don't go swinging.
No.
Because that's just so not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about trust. It's about loving your partner and trusting your partner enough to say, but you might never get to the stage that we were at.
No, I mean, obviously, like we've said, we've been in the naughty hobby for a number of years. And, it's only recently that I have had those feelings where it's like, oh, okay.
And if we had never done what we did on Saturday, I would have been just as happy.
I know, exactly.
Just as happy.
Exactly.
It wasn't something I felt I needed to experience.
Yeah.
It was something that I've loved experiencing and enjoyed experiencing, but it wasn't an urge that I needed to do.
No.
And I think if you do have that urge, you have to be honest with your partner and say, look, I would like to play if that's what you feel you need to do, but I didn't have that urge that I needed to do that. But it was something that we talked about, and
not only that, from the other partner's point of view, if you are like myself and you are carrying around guilt, then it's a case of don't push yourself. Let it happen naturally, because I listen to my emotions and my feelings.
Good advice.
And I waited until I was 100% comfortable.
Good advice. And even if you have a few false starts.
Yeah.
Even if you have a few false starts and you think you're ready, again, this is where it's really important to be really honest with the other people that you're playing with and say, look, this is going to be our first time. If you think you're ready, I'm going to say, I think I'm ready. Have a safe word, share it with everybody that you're playing with and say, okay, I think I'm ready. But if it's too much, we're going to use a safe word.
Yeah.
And just go, no, even if your safe word is, can we cool things down? I'll go for a drink.
Yeah.
and just break off.
Yeah.
So that you can then just talk alone with your partner. You might be able to stop for a bit and go, no, okay, let's carry on.
Yes.
But you might be able to stop and say, no, it's just too much.
I'm just not ready. Exactly.
Yeah. And at least then you're not going to be upset. You know where you are, and everybody knows where they are.
Yeah.
Whereas if you try and be the brave and go, no, let's just do it, and not tell the person that you're with, they won't have a fucking clue what's going on.
No, not at all. But the other reason is with being so honest with all parties concerned, is because at the end of the day, you want everybody to have the best experience.
Yeah, and you don't want that third person to go away and get in their own head going, well, what did I do wrong?
What did I do wrong? Exactly.
They will think it's then probably something they did that it suddenly stopped.
Yeah.
And that's not what this community is about. This community is about, respecting everyone.
Yes.
And if you're playing with someone, you damn well respect them, because as we said, it's a powerful thing. So you can be a single person, you can be playing with a single person, and their feelings, their emotions are just as important as the couple that they're playing with.
Absolutely.
So it's important that you inform them of what's going on, whereabouts you are, and if it's too much, it's too much emotionally, and you stop. And if they are just as respectful and a decent human being, they will totally understand that the most important thing in that room is the couple's relationship at that point, because they're going to be leaving together. Yeah. And sex always comes second in this naughty hobby.
It does. It does.
And I think we've about run out of tape.
Have we? I love having guests on the show. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite things. Mm-hmm. But it's been very nice just being the two of us this evening.
An intimate occasion.
I know. It's been very, very nice. So there's just one thing that we just need to let everybody know.
Yes.
The next Vegas Vixens,
which is open to single guys, a limited amount of single guys, single ladies and couples. Everybody's all inclusive is welcome. And it's at Liberty Elite. Wait for this. Liberty Elite on Friday the 13th of October.
It is.
So if you'd like to come along and meet us and just chat.
Or play naughty roulette.
And
win a double ender.
Or a naughty sex toy. You might win a flogger or something. And you might be at the stage where you're not ready to play, you're a couple not ready to play, but you just want to be in a safe environment with gorgeous people and just experience a bit of this naughty lifestyle. Yeah,
and just socialise, because we have people that just come to the club purely just to socialise,
to dance and have fun.
Exactly.
And, so if you'd like to experience that, get on to internet.
Get onto internet.
And we are on Fab Swingers, the website called Fab Swingers, and we're on the Naughty Couple, spelled NAUGHTYCP1. We're also on email. Do you remember that? Do you remember the old-fashioned thing called email? And you can email us at naughtycouple, NAUGHTYCP1 @yahoo.com. If you come into the event, they're the best two ways to speak to us, because we need to chat to you. We need to tell you dress codes, etiquette, how things happen, how you can get there, and all the logistics.
Yes.
If you want to just see naughty pictures, on the other hand, you can go on that X thing. You remember that X thing that used to be called Twitter?
Used to be a little blue bird.
Yeah, it's now Black X.
Now a Black X. I still don't get that.
Thanks to, it's Elon, isn't it? He loves X. He's obsessed with the X. And we're on there, and you can get us on Twitter. We're on Naughty Couple, spelled NAUGHTYCOUP1E.
You had to think about that, didn't you? And just one final note. If you are a single guy who's interested in coming to Vegas Vixens and you haven't had any verifications, you can get a verification by having a video chat with myself.
Absolutely.
And if you want to contact us through the ways that Mr. N has just told you about, then we can arrange to do a video call, and we can verify you and make sure that you're the right person for our event.
Yes, all gentlemen are vetted.
Yes.
So single gentlemen, we know we have the best calibre of single gentlemen. They're fabulous. They understand the etiquette and they understand how you behave in a club.
Yeah.
And everybody's 100% safe. And that's why we just love it.
We do.
If you want to chat to us about anything, as I say, we are on Discord, and there's always a link to Discord in our programme notes.
Mm-hmm. And then just a final thing, possibly for next week's show, Mr. N.
Yes.
Is we're off to the burlesque.
With delicious Debs.
Not just delicious Debs.
Oh, we're bringing that other naughty lady along called Tina Von Teese.
And also the Hooky Monster's coming.
Yes.
And not only that, our girls are attending.
I know.
So the girls have been invited to their very, very first burlesque. Actually, well, I can't say it's my first one because I've seen a couple of burlesque shows, but this is in an actual theatre. And
that's right. So this is kind of a non-adult event.
Yes.
It's I wouldn't exactly say it's like Alton Towers. but yeah, we're bringing our daughters along, so it's going to be a family occasion.
Yeah, so we will talk about it.
So it's definitely a vanilla occasion, but with a bit of fun in as well. So that's going to be fantastic.
Yes.
So I would just like to finish by saying a huge thank you to everyone in the community who has given us just such a wonderful weekend.
Yes.
You really are our family. You really are, and you mean the world to us. And thank you once again. And we shall see you next week.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.